Hey, it's Jim from the Woodworking Corner. Recently built this crosscut sled, and I've been using it for a couple weeks now, but I feel like it is out of whack a little bit with the fence. I did a couple cuts, and when you could visibly see that your cut might be off, then there's probably something wrong. I've been using the 5-cut method, which I'm going to go over here very quickly. What I wanted to share with you, though, is where I'm at right now. So here's my first cut, and you can almost, I can see it visibly that there is a difference between the top and the bottom of the measurements, and I'll go over what everything is in a second. So I've done 4 different cuts so far to get to this point right now. Then I did a cut here just to see, and there is a touch of daylight. So I was going to try and fix that part out, and that's what I was going to go with you. I just didn't want to bore you guys with all this stuff. So where I'm set up right now is I have my guide that's into the fence right now with the fewer gauge in there, and the math that I've been going through so far is my off in terms of millimeters. When I say 191, it's really 1.91, so millimeters. So that's where I'm at right now. So that's where I started with my biggest error was 191 or minus 191. Then I did a second one, and this one, I actually said it was actually worse, but I kept moving the fence in the right direction. My third one was minus 86 or minus 0.86. And then this one right here was the 0.05. It's actually in a positive number. So that's when I did this cut to see where I'm at in terms of how square I am. And I thought I was happy, but then there is a touch of daylight. So I'm going to try and fix that one right now. So to do this, what you need is you do need some calipers. It'd be very, very helpful. You need a square to help at the end. Fewer gauges, if you don't have them. Use some blue tape, playing card. I mean, we're not talking about rocket scientists. We're not building something that's going to require so much precision. So I was kind of almost happy with this, but I just want to see if we could do one last final cut or one final adjustment just to see if we can get this back. And I started off with a piece about this big, maybe a little bit smaller than that, and then it's down to this. So we're going to use this one for the next one. Just the bigger the piece, the better, but then I'll use this one also for the diagram to explain how the 5-cut system works. It's not something that I invented, and I'm not going through all the math and all the calculators that they have. I just figured if I can get these numbers as close as possible that I'm happy with, then so be it. So let me get all this stuff out of the way, and we'll describe what's going to happen. So basically, the 5-cut method. One cut here, and after each time you make a clean cut, you're going to rotate the board towards the fence. So this is going to be number 2. This is going to be number 3. This will be 4. And we'll come back for a 5th pass right here. The more times you do it, the more time you're going to compound the errors. And the longer the board, the better it is. So right now I have this set up. I didn't move my fence yet. When you do all your math, if the numbers come out to, like my first set of numbers all came out to negative numbers when I subtracted the top to the bottom, that means you got to keep moving the fence more towards the blade. Once I got to this positive number, 0.05, that means I got to back it off a little bit. So my gauge that I was originally using was 0.007. Right now I got a 0.003 in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unscrew the fence, then I'll be able to slide this in, push it back, clamp it, screw it in, and then we'll do the test cut. And that was a little fast. So again, what we're going to do is, because my fence is too far forward, I need to pull it back a little bit. So by unscrewing it, by clamping this here, right up against the fence right now, without the fewer gauge in there, fewer gauge is not in there, I take the screw out of the bottom, I can slide this in, then push it up, which will have it backed off a little bit. Then clamp it, put a new screw in, and we do our 5-cut test. So let's get that set up. So I'm taking out the screw. Then I'm going to add the feeler gauge in there, and then I push it up against there. I'm going to set the clamp so it's nice and tight. Then I'm going to put the screw into a new hole, or I'm going to make a new hole with my screw at the bottom. Okay. Again, I'm leaving my screw on the floor, my drill on the floor, because it makes life easy. So now we can take the clamps off, we can get rid of this block, get rid of the feeler gauge, and then we can start cutting this. $22.51. $22.39. So that's 0.12. We're still positive. So I may do it just one more time just to see if we can get it even closer. So after 8 attempts and 40 cuts and a lot of math, I finally got my fence dialed in to minus 0.04 millimeters. It is a measurement that I can live with. The type of woodwork I do doesn't require an error less than that. With the fence in its new position, I drive in the screws into new spots under my crosscut sled. The bottom is starting to look like the surface of the moon with all those screw holes. I do a final check with a freshly cut piece of wood, and there is no daylight between the square and the wood. Though this process is tedious, it is worth it to have a crosscut sled with an accurate fence. Thank you for watching.